Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Are you okay? I hope you're doing well. In today's live, I'm going to talk about a little about real data type in Theoportal. First, let me type today's live title. And now let me print my message for new friends which participated in this live. Okay, my friends, do you have any questions, any idea? Okay, so let's start today's live. I've prepared a video about this live, so let me share that with you. Okay, as you see, here you can see my hardware configuration. I'm using an S700 CPU Intel Portal software. I use a simple program inside my main block OB1. I only call my FC function. My functions include some codes in SCL language, which this code will show you how some mathematics formula can give us the wrong result in Theoportal. And in these formulas, in these expressions, I'm using some data, some parameters, which are defined in this data block. Let's have a proper vision to see my data block and my codes. But actually, I need my codes. Okay. In my codes, now I'm online. I'm connected to my S700 CPU. But as you see, some expressions, some formulas give me wrong results, right? Let's talk about them. For the first sections here, you can see that number 1 divided by number 4 in both lines. But and the expected result is 0.25. But why the first lines give me wrong result? Here, the reason is that the first data type, the first parameter, whose data type is integer. An integer data type doesn't save fraction parts of numbers. So this part will be omitted from my results, and then this part, I mean 0, will be saved in my parameter whose data type is integer. So the data type of parameters which are used to store numbers is important. Otherwise, you may have wrong results. Okay, the next sections, as you see, I'm using this parameter. Parameter B in my data block is a real number. But as you see here, the first line gives me wrong result, but the next lines give me a true result, a true answer. Why? Uh, this parameter B in my data block, is a real number, but on the right side, the first line divides number 1 by number 4, which both are integer. So the result will be integer and then will be saved in my parameter. So like the previous sections, because this line gives me an integer number, it will omit the fraction parts, I mean 25, and then save the result in my parameter. To avoid this result, I need to use one floating point in my formula. For example, here I write num 4.0, or in the next line I use the one number 0. Note that 1 or let me 1 is different from 1.0. 1 is an integer number, but 1.0 is a floating point number. And TIA Portal used different formats to save them, right? Okay, now let's go to the next sections. In the next sections, I use parameter C in my data block, whose data type is real. As you know, in mathematics, 0 divided by 0 is undefined. And we show this result with these symbols because it's not a number. And another result which may you have in TIA Portal is when you divide a non-zero number like -1, -1 or 1 divide by 0. In these situations, we will have minus infinitive number or infinitive number. In these sections, the last 3 lines are the same result because the last 2 lines multiplies number 10 and 100 with a big number, which gives me a very big number that I cannot save it with a real number with a parameter whose data type is real. As you see, this table is from Siemens website, and you see here you can see it's a valid range to save data. For example, when I multiply this number with 10 or with 100, the result will be over this range. So the result will be infinitive, and TIA Portal used these hexadecimal codes to display them. So pay attention that you don't reach very big numbers. Another point, or a very small number. Another point is that if you type here number 0, TIA Portal will detect it and won't allow you to use this formula. But here I use a parameter. It can be a non-zero. But in this example, it's equal to 0, so my result is not a number because it is not defined in mathematics. All right, let's continue to next sections. Another important is about the very small numbers. As you see here, you can see it's minimum value that a real parameter can be saved. So this parameter whose data type is real cannot save this number. So it will be saved 0 because it is not, because this number does not belong to this valid range. So if you want to save, for example, this number, then you will need to use the large real data type for your parameter. As you see, I use this data type for the next parameter, and it can save this number without any problem. So another important point when you work with real data with floating point numbers is when you work with very small numbers. My friends which participate in this live, I'm talking about real data type, and I'm explaining some conditions that when you use this data type, you may see wrong results for your mathematics expression. Okay, so be careful about saving very small numbers. Now let's talk about the next sections. Here you can see in these three lines that x is plus y minus z for these three lines. And the true result is number 1. But as you see, the first line gives me a wrong result. Why? Here, this figure, which I downloaded from Siemens website, displays how a number is stored in real format. 1 bit for sign, 8 bit for exponent part, and 23 bits for mantissa part. Okay, pay attention to this part, which I use, which this format used 8 bits. Here you can see that x is equal to this number, 1 is equal to number 1, and z is equal to this number. And here you see the mathematics expressions of this formula in mathematics. I expect the result be number 1. All right, but as I said, TR Portal used 8 bits for exponent parts. And when TR Portal want to add operand, add two numbers together, first try convert one of them to a number with this multis. When you do a mathematics between real numbers, the mantissa parts should be equal together. So number 1 will change to this form, right? 0.00000001 multiplied with 10 power 8, which now the mantissa the Montesa parts of these two numbers are equal together, and TR portal now can do my mathematics formula, can calculate my mathematics expressions. But in this format, as I said, the exponent part is use 8 bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this part, number 1, cannot be saved in a parameter whose data type is real. All right? So this part will be omitted, and in consequence, the result won't be number 1. It will be 0 because 2 equal num because this number is 0, and portal just do this part of my formula, just minus two numbers from each other which are equal together. So the result will be 0. But as you see, I can access the true result in the next two lines. Why? In this line, I only change the order of parameters. Here is x, y, z, but here I use x minus z plus y. In this line, portal do the minus part with big numbers, and then the result will be add to the number 1. With this order of operand, portal will access true answer, will calculate true answer. And in the next line, I use the large real data type. It uses 64 bits to store numbers. In other words, a real data parameter whose data type is real uses 62 bits. So if you want to work with numbers which are very large or which are very small and cannot be saved with a parameter whose data type is real, so you can use the large real data type because it uses 64 bits. All right, okay. In this slide, I showed you some mathematics expressions that give us wrong result in TR portal. But what we can do when we write program in TR portal to prevent these situations. Now let me share with you another page. All right. You can use internet, Google, or ChatGPT to answer your questions. When you are start programming in TR portal, I would exact comparisons. For example, if a parameter equal to another number, because tiny floating point errors can make it fail these conditions. Instead of that, use a tolerance, use a range for your conditions. Another point that can help us is use scaled integers when possible. For example, if I want to save a temperature with this range with one digit for its fraction parts, I can scale it to these numbers, to this range. Another point that can help us is use this data type, as I said in this slide, use large real data type. Another one is minimize conversations, minimize mathematics operations, and don't do mathematics operations with large and small numbers at the same time. And finally, when you use the watch table in TR Portal, don't trust it. Watch table sometimes round numbers. Okay, my friends, in this live, okay, let me stop sharing. My friends, in this live, I showed you some mathematics expressions which used parameters whose data type is real data, and I showed you sometimes you may see wrong results in TR Portal, and then talk about some tips, some points that can help us during PLC programming to avoid see these situations. My friends, if you have any idea about this weekly live, please use the chat sections and please send your ideas to PLC Goods YouTube channel. Thanks for watching this live. I will see you in the next week. I hope you have a great week. Bye.